Welcome to the fourth video of section 2.5, where we're going to learn how to solve by using the quadratic formula. Up here, you'll notice we have the quadratic formula, and we're using it based on our quadratic in standard form. The quadratic formula will work for all quadratic equations, whereas sometimes you can't factor, like we learned in the first video. Sometimes we can't use the square root property, like we learned in the second video. But the quadratic formula will work for all quadratic equations. Let's go ahead and start. If you notice number 10, we list out our A, B, and our C values. We are going to directly plug these values into our quadratic formula. Make sure to use parentheses when you're plugging in your numbers for your variables, especially when they're negative. And when we solve this, we'll get this right here. We can simplify that a little bit more. And we'll go ahead and simplify our radical. And at this point, we're mostly simplifying. So we have two answers for x. We have 3 plus 2 root 2 and 3 minus 2 root 2 using the quadratic formula. For number 11, please notice that our quadratic equation is not in standard form. So we're going to rewrite it so that it is in standard form. And that way we're going to be able to easily make out our A, B, and C value. And once I have those listed, I am going to go ahead and plug them in. So you'll have this, and notice I still like to plug my variables, my numbers, into parentheses, just so I get into the habit of watching those negative signs. So once I simplify this square root, I'll have a 0 under the square root sign. And in this case, I'm going to have just one solution. Taking a look at number 12, this is written in standard form for us. I'll have my A, B, and C. And when I plug this into the quadratic formula, we'll have something that looks like this. And when I go ahead and simplify that, we'll have this. And notice that there is a negative underneath the square root sign, which means my answer will have an imaginary number in it. Now let's be careful one moment. The directions for these three problems were to find all real solutions. When we have an imaginary number in our answer, this is not a real solution. So the answer to this problem is it does not exist. There are no real solutions. Now be careful, because if we were to ask you for all solutions, you would include the imaginary answers as well. That's when we're asking for all solutions. But if they say only the real solutions, in this case, we cannot have an imaginary number in our answer. And that concludes the fourth video to section 2.5.